Hello everyone, welcome to Brilliant Public School online edu classes. Today we are going to learn chapter number 3, Ruling the Countryside part 2 of class 8 History, Social Science. The learning outcome of this part will be, in this part, we will learn about various revenue system, features and problems of the settlement system. So let us begin. For the income of revenue, anyhow, you have learned in the previous part that company needs revenue. From where will company get revenue? Company can get revenue only through agriculture. So for the income of revenue, investment in land had to be encouraged. Agriculture needs to be improved. Finally, after the decades of debate, for 2 years, the company introduced permanent settlement system in 1793. And you know who took the charge of introducing permanent settlement system? It was being introduced by Charles Cornwallis. He was the Governor General of India when the permanent settlement system was introduced. Let us discuss permanent settlement system in detail. By the terms of settlement, the Rajas and Talukdars were considered as zamindars. They were asked to collect rent from the peasants and pay revenue to the company. The amount to be paid was fixed permanently. That is, it was not to be increased even in future. What was the motive behind introducing permanent settlement system? Come on, think why company introduced permanent settlement system. First, for regular flow of revenue, which the company desperately needed. Second, they encourage zamindars to invest in improving the land so that they can get the best crop and best revenue can be collected from the peasants. Features of permanent settlement system. First, it was started by Lord Cornwallis in 1793. It was majorly practiced in the areas like Bengal, Bihar, Orissa, Uttar Pradesh and North Karnataka. Total area of Indian agricultural land occupied under permanent settlement was 19%. 1/10 part will remain with Zamindar for his fulfillment of needs. There were many problems with permanent settlement system as the company did not see that if there would be some disastrous condition like natural disaster or flood or drought, then how the peasants they will pay the revenue. So there were a lot of problems like rent was too high, zamindars were auctioned by the company. Though the income was increasing, but the company was getting fixed revenue. Zamindars were not keen to improve the agriculture as they were not getting anything in profit. So they were not actually interested to improve the condition of the land or agricultural method. How could revenue be fixed permanently at a time when the company needed more money to meet its expenses of administration and trade? The company itself realized that if at all we will fix the amount of revenue, how we will be able to meet the need with the expenses of day-to-day life. So they they were planning to introduce a new method. So a new system was devised. Company official felt that it was impossible for the company to survive on the fixed amount of rent, whereas the expenses of the company increased. It was fluctuating actually. So they decided to develop a new method of revenue collection, which came to be known as Mandiwari System. In 1822, an Englishman called Holt Mackenzie felt that village was an important social institution for North Indian society and needed to be preserved. So, he developed a new method of revenue collection known as Mandiwari System, wherein in this system following steps were taken. First, officers went to different villages for inspection of land. Fields were measured. Customs and rights of the people were recorded. Estimated revenue of each plot within the village was added up to calculate the revenue that each village or mahal had to pay. The revenue was not permanently fixed. It was to be revised periodically. Instead of zamindars, the village headman was made responsible of collecting and paying the revenue to the company. The villages were divided or named as mahals. While Mandiwari system of revenue collection was introduced in the northern part of the country, another method came into use in southern part of India, which came to be known as Ryotwari system or Munro system, as it was being introduced by Thomas Munro. So let's know more about Ryotwari system or Munro system. The Munro system, which was being introduced by Thomas Munro, it was being applied all over South India. It was introduced majorly in Bombay and Madras Presidency. Revenue was directly collected from the ryots or the cultivators. The ryots was recognized as the owner of the land who paid tax directly to the government. The land owned by ryots were surveyed separately. Then an assessment was made. This means that on the basis of the survey, the amount of revenue was fixed of the land. Taxes were very high. It was around 55%. The revenue payable was roughly half of the total yield. So now we know that three systems of revenue collection were tried by the Britishers. Let's compare them. Revenue collection system, permanent settlement system. It was introduced in the territory of Bengal, Orissa and Bihar. Mandiwari settlement system. It was introduced in Bengal Presidency, most part of Uttar Pradesh. Munro system. It was introduced in South India. Let's have a short recap on types of land revenue policy under British. We have already discussed about permanent settlement system, which was introduced by Lord Cornwallis. Next, Ryotwari system, which was being introduced by Thomas Munro, which was also known as Munro system. Third, Mandiwari system, which was being introduced by Lord William Bentinck. After introduction of all the settlement system, still all was still not well. People, they were still struggling. All this new three system designed and introduced by British proved to be failures. Driven by the desire to increase the income from land, too high revenues were demanded. Peasants were unable to pay and fled the countryside because they do not have any other option. Many peasants, they lost even their land. So with this, we end our second part. Happy learning everyone. We'll continue in the third part.